It wasn't blue, which is the color it normally is. I don't know what I don't know what's happening over here, Miles. I mean, Wes. I mean,
Wow.
tornado.
There's definitely a rift open in the time continuum.
Wow. Yeah. No. It's 2 Thursday for Tornado Thursdays. Isn't that what day today is? She's my co-host on every Thursday. Thanks goodness. Oh my God, bro, this is gonna be the worst episode ever.
Oh, that's okay. That's right in line with the rest of our episodes.
Perfect. No one's gonna be able to tell the difference.
Nobody will tell.
Excellent. Good thing we have this nice thumbnail to make up for it, though, don't you think? It's all makes it all
Let
better.
it shield us.
Yeah.
From our embarrassing.
I don't want to do this anymore. Can we cancel? Is it too late to cancel after you push the go live button?
Yes, it's too late. Fire the missiles.
Hey, here we go. I'm starting the show, AJ. I know he's here because I can hear his voice. Let me just make sure he appears on screen. This is amazing. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. This happens every episode now. Every episode. And there you are. This is PSVR GameScast Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday. Right here on YouTube, we do it live. As you can tell, because this is horrible. 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure, but we also care about your oral pleasure. Suck it, AJ. That's why our good friend Rypop puts this thing up on podcast services of your choice. My name is Brian Palpinition right here with that Parole. And this guy over here, half green screened. I don't know what's real anymore, AJ. I'm not sure if that's even did you green screen half of your room to look like a green screen? It's AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground. I like asking questions and then just talking over you.
What is up, Brian? I like it too. What is up? Nobody else. And what is up, Gamecat? Happy Monday. Let's go, baby. Woo! Happy 8th birthday to the PSVR1. This is going to be a very PSVR1 special episode. Man, how you doing, Brian? That's great, man, because I've been awesome. I've been playing Redacted, which I can't talk about, so I'll just talk about something else because I can't talk about that right now. I played my N64 over the weekend. By the way, I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I played Pokemon Snap, which is so damn good. Isn't there a second one? What? It's the only Pokemon game I've played, and I love it. And it's so good.
I was like, we should. I was like, make sure we don't talk about PC VR on the show. And AJ's like, I'll show you. I'll talk about N64. God damn it.
I would love a Pokemon Snap kind of game for VR. Is all I'm saying.
Well, remember we were gonna get one like 3 years ago. They were like, it's coming in 2024, and it was like for PSVR1. We were like, nothing about this makes sense. Right?
Oh man,
was it like a dinosaur photography game or something like that?
Yeah, whatever happened to that? This is what happens when we cover games when they're like 2 years out. Like I don't know, like yeah, I don't even know. But
they were in the conception stage.
I played Conker's Bad Fur Day, which a special somebody sold to me, a very good friend, who will not be named.
It was a repro.
And then yeah, man, watch some horror movies. I watched Smile, which I actually really liked, and then watched.
How are we friends? I don't even get this.
Look, it was a good, simple horror movie. Yeah. And then I watched Long Legs, which was meh. Like it was okay. It was good up until the end. Like, and it was like, okay, well, that was pointless. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what else I did? I started working out again, which was great. It's nice to be healthy and try to be healthy and stuff. I cleaned out my closet. Literally.
Are you reading this off a list? It looks like you have a list. You're like.
No, I'm
and
just
then I read a book. It's this book.
I'm just playing with things on my desk because I have ADD and I can't sit still and I have two keyboards in front of me and it makes me go crazy. But yeah, man. And then I've also been playing lots of PSVR1. So I did what a timing for this episode.
I wish you could see what they're seeing right now. I threw the notebook. It accidentally went to the introduction, and then when I pulled it back from the introduction so they could see us, you're a blue box again.
Oh, okay.
This is so dumb,
Brian.
I hate everything about this.
I gotta ask, why do you have plastic wrap like you're dextering people over there?
Yeah, no, this is my kill house. I am Dexter, and this is my kill house.
I mean, it's just your house.
Yeah.
So it's just your house that you kill people in.
I don't have the money to rent another place. I'm Patrick Bateman. I mean, what explanation do you want? Yeah.
No explanation needed. I just wanted to give my long-winded hello, and I've missed you all.
Here.
Good to see you.
Here, you want to see what's going on over here, AJ? Here.
Do I?
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh my goodness!
Look at all the dead bodies. Yeah.
Wow.
So I live in
Halloween.
this chaos. I know, right? It really. I really should have a haunted house here.
Season. Yeah. It is spooky season,
yeah.
So it's very appropriate. You just need to fling some fake blood around there, or real blood, whatever.
I have real blood, that more plentiful supply, so I'll use what I've got. Jesus Christ, I don't even know, dude. Let's. I'm gonna check in with the chat here and see what these tips say. Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Gamecat with the $5 tip says, "Hey guys, hey Kill Artist, I am waiting.
What up, Kill Artist?
I'm waiting on my Italian food. While on my first cruise sailing," he buried the lead, AJ. He's like, "I'm waiting for my Italian food. I'm on a cruise." What? Shouldn't you start with, "I'm on a fucking cruise waiting for some food"? Okay, I'm waiting on my Italian food while on my first cruise sailing to the Bahamas as we speak. Just thought I would drop in. That is amazing. Congratulations. I hope the food's good, because I don't think if it's bad, there's no alternative. You can't just go somewhere else and get better Italian food. It's the cruise Italian food, and that is the only option. You think DoorDash would be like, "Hold on, I'm getting on a boat," catching up to the cruise ship with the oars?
That'd be great.
They don't get paid enough for that shit. So.
No.
What else we got? We got Wally is now a Gamecat, specifically White Tiger, with the Canadian $5 tip, says, "Got into the radius this week. Smack.
Yes.
Oh my, I am blown away and fully immersed in mag management. It is engaging. Also still doing headshots in Pavlov."
Hell yeah. And I saw that Into the Radius was #1 on the charts for both Europe and North America. Go Into the Radius, baby.
Yeah.
That game is phenomenal. That is a really, really good game. And yeah, super engaging, immersive, and just one of those games that it's the mechanics. I love VR games where the mechanics are so deep that you just feel like I just want to stay in here for hours at a time. It's so good.
Yep. And even better, it's been getting patches and shit. I know it's just got its most recent patch today or yesterday or something. So it's supposed to be better to climb ladders now. It's supposed to be better. The frame rate's supposed to be more stable during some of those jankier sections. Nice. And so, I mean, I haven't gone in and checked all this out for myself, so I can't say for certain that this is all what it is, but this is what how the patch notes read. So it's very, very promising. And I can't wait to get back in and check it out because
so good.
Yeah, it is really, really good. It's
highly recommended.
I can't wait until our next top 25 debate, because this is definitely going to find its way into the top 10, I think. Love it.
When's that supposed to be? Are we do we need some more time for some games to come out?
Well, so here's I think the issue, AJ, and the issue is that it's got to kind of happen around December, mid-December, maybe late December. And the problem is that everyone's going to be crazy busy, right? Like Wes and Miles and you. Everyone's going to be crazy busy during that time. And I've kind of been promising everybody a top 50. And so I think it might just be the Brian Paul top 50.
Okay. So
I can kind of throw it together. I can kind of start working on it now, the stuff that we know is going to be in the back 25. Start getting that together, doing some voiceovers, rearrange it as we get closer to the date of the video, and so because I do want there's going to be a lot of people who are getting a new headset for Christmas or whatever holiday they celebrate, and I would like there to be an awesome top list, an up-to-date top list for those people who are like, what game should I buy? Nice and easy. Yeah.
Good time to have those.
Now let's ride the
Monday,
game feline with the $5 tip says, I just love this channel so much. And he said it seductively, just like that. He was like, I love this channel.
Love you too.
So much, AJ. I love it. Love it. From the deepest recesses of my bowels. I love it. I love it. Also, everyone give a shout out to Nihilus Ryan. What a fucking very cool cat who I got to meet at the meetup.
I was just thinking about that.
But also, and please, I'm 99% sure that I saw this when I was scrolling through very quickly today in Discord. I think Alice Ryan broke like a second PSVR2 headset today.
Oh.
And has to like go get another one. So like, oh, dude, like our sympathies are with you. Yeah. Do you leave yours plugged in? AJ, do you leave your headset plugged into the PS5? Because I feel like that's a little precarious.
Yeah.
Okay. Me too.
I leave it plugged in. I do have a stand for it, but I usually just leave it on my gaming chair.
Yeah. Yeah. I usually leave mine plugged in, and that's dangerous because when you're just walking by the PS5, it's so easy to kick that because it's sticking out, and like the USB-C cable is like so, I think, delicate compared to a full-fledged USB cable, like a USB-A cable. Is that what they call them? And
yes,
I just don't like it, and I always think I should unplug it, but then I'm lazy and I don't, So.
Jordy Britt is calling me out. Says AJ's been refusing to talk about Redacted for months. I need to specify. Maybe I need to call them like Redacted 1, Redacted 2.
It's Arizona Sunshine, guys. What the fuck else would we be playing? What do you?
It's Redacted.
Yeah, I actually asked them. I said, "Can I tell people that I'm playing this for review, like currently?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, just don't talk about the game." And I was like, "Awesome, let me tell you all about the game, you guys." Whoa, you're not gonna believe it. No, well, what's the embargo? Perfect. Now I know exactly what I want to break later. Yeah, no, we'll talk about Arizona Sunshine when the embargo's up. But we have been playing it, and AJ and I have even gotten in there and played a little bit together. It's been redacted. It's been one heck of a redacted of a time.
It was very redacted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. You know what else has been redacted? The release date of Starship Troopers Continuum.
Wait, hold on. No, wait. It's Monday, Brian.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What makes Monday different than any other day, AJ?
Well, on this day, which is Monday, Brian, we would like to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something Gamecat, something Gamecat related, or something Gamecat adjacent, as you and something Gamecat adjacent like to say, which is not Hugo. And this week, we have 2 new Gamecats to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo. By the way, I really enjoyed seeing all of the Hugo name changes over the week. I really appreciate all the support out there.
You know what I enjoyed seeing, AJ?
Where's Hugo?
Yeah, what I enjoyed seeing was the people who were like, "What's this Hugo nonsense?" And I was like, "Thank you for outing yourself as people who do not watch GAMESCAST."
I think Hugo was Yan the Game Wolf.
You're just making shit up now. Yan the Game Wolf. You out there?
Where are you at?
Hold on a second.
I'll be wrong again.
Jan?
I know.
Oh, it's just Jan?
Somewhere out there.
It's not Hugo? Got it. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you so much.
You're probably right. Anyways, starting with Gamecat Farmer Brown. Woo-hoo!
Bing!
You think he has a pig?
I just don't like that he doesn't have a profile picture because I feel like it should be a pig with like a VR headset on.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say, do you think if he's got a pig, do you think he's ever put a VR headset on it?
I hope so. Do you think he's ever put a wig on the pig?
Maybe.
Like, you sexy girl.
Maybe a big wig.
Oh, big wig. That's totally different. Sorry.
We've also got Buju, the 6 feet underground game cat.
Bing.
I love that. Buju, man. Good job. Elite name squad in the house tonight. Let's go.
In direct contrast to Gamecat Farmer Brown kind of phoning it in over there with no PFP, we got Buju, I apologize, with Spyro the Dragon in their profile picture, and a blue butterfly, and the dragon, Spyro, wearing a PSVR2 headset. I mean, let's fucking go.
She's already beaten Spyro in VR on PC with a PSVR2.
Can we talk about N64 again?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
um,
Have you
yeah.
played Jet Force Gemini yet?
Oh,
Or Space
I
Station
don't know.
Silicon Valley? You should check those out. Those are really good ones.
Maybe.
Mm.
I had a PlayStation instead of an N64, but my friend had the N64.
Yep.
So we would have sleepovers over the weekend and combine forces, and it was a great weekend full of awesome gamey goodness. But I would always tell him PlayStation's better though.
Of course it is.
just like how I told my friend growing up that SNES was better than Sega.
Listen, you're not wrong on either count, okay? And I was a Genesis kid. You're not wrong. But yeah, I mean, dude, PS1 was so much better than N64. Although N64 had some bangers.
Super good games on it.
Good stuff.
Let's put them all into VR.
Please and thank you. We got Magnum Gaming out there with the $5 tip. Says, is there anything to destroy the charcoal figures into the radius? Is there anything to destroying the charcoal figures? Is that about like the very first enemies you encounter? Those guys?
Maybe he came across some charcoal figures and not talking about the enemies.
What?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking, was just the enemies. I mean, yeah, you shoot the enemies until they turn into a little ball, and then you knife the little ball to kill them.
Or shoot the ball if you got plenty of ammo and you're not conserving. That's all it is. It's just making sure you destroy the ball. I feel like he knows that though. I feel like we're missing something here.
Perhaps.
Yeah. But
maybe he's talking about the lore.
I'm keeping an eye on the chat instead of running a show.
Oh, from the ones, not the enemies, the ones that are like frozen in place that you run into and they break.
Those
are the story. Yeah, you just get like
Got
story and exposition and yeah, just additional like voiceovers and stuff.
Yeah, and I have to do it every single time. Like I have to like run right through them and be like, and then touch all the pieces. Actually, very very zero gravity physicsy. It's good. Yeah. But that's it. I don't know. And honestly, I haven't really taken a good look at the trophy list. Is there anything to that as far as trophies are concerned?
I don't know about trophies. I just know they have more story.
Yeah, good stuff. Guys, if you want to shout out for changing your name to Gamecat, like Farmer Brown and Buju, I don't know if those are the right names, then make sure you put hashtag Gamecat underneath any without parole video, and then AJ will give you a shout out on next week's show. Anything Gamecat, Jason. Anything you want. Do it up.
And more spooky season. I want to see more spooky season.
Yeah. I want more spooky season. Yep. Man.
Now back to the news, Brian.
All right. Starship Troopers got delayed. Starship Troopers Continuum. Not that I was like crazy excited about this to begin with. I wasn't. I don't think the reveal trailer looks very good.
Yeah, I think we all were until we saw it.
We were all excited until we weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until they showed it.
Yeah, I mean, especially since like there's a perfectly awesome Starship Troopers game that's coming out of early access and coming to PlayStation 5 like right now. This is what they should have brought us. Could have been nice and easy. But no. Why would they ever do things the right way, AJ? No, they're just not going to do it.
Because they don't like money.
Because they don't like money. Yeah. Well, I think this way they were like, well, we can sell them 2 games instead of 1. And then everyone was like, no, we just wanted the other one. So I don't think it's going to work out very well. But anyway, not that I care all that much, because I'm not looking forward to this game probably as much as some people out there. There's hardcore Starship Troopers fans that I think are going to probably just really dig this the way that I'm going to dig the Alien game, even if it sucks. But let's take a quick look at their delay message. Starship Troopers Continuum will now be coming out on November 14th. If you guys remember, it was supposed to come out October 31st on all platforms. On MetaQuest, and November 25th on PlayStation VR2. This is to allow further time for extra playtesting, polish, and fixes to help ensure the best experience on MetaQuest and PlayStation VR2. We appreciate the community's patience and support and look forward to seeing everyone on the battlefield this November. AJ, I gotta say, I'm a little bit concerned because October was supposed to be this like insanely busy month, and it's like still busy, but like mostly with some smaller games. We got like Human Fall Flat VR coming, I think the last day of the month. We still have Arizona Sunshine coming out later this week. There's and there's a handful of other games. Deadland 2 is supposedly coming out. Deadland Polygon VR. I mean, just so many like smaller little
It's
lower
so
budget
weird.
I know it's very very weird. But we just lost Wanderer out of October, possibly out of 2024 altogether. We don't really know when that's coming. And then we just lost this game too out of October. And it's like, man, I'm a little bit nervous. There's going to be this pile up a little further away, a little further down the highway, right? Like suddenly December 8th is going to be like everything's piled on, trying to get away from everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like October every single year has like 20 games announced, and then like 75% of them get delayed. Is it me, or is that like a thing that's been going on for the last couple of years?
I don't know. It's so hard to pay attention.
But yeah, man. I mean, the thing is like we need more stuff to look forward to for 2025.
Yeah.
And this we already know like there's a bunch of great things, but yeah, it is a little weird that's like it is a little weird that there's all these things that just they get announced, they get a release date, and then they get pushed back, and it just happens over and over and over. And yeah, it's a little strange. I mean, all these games were hyping up their games earlier in the year, and then it's like, well, we're going to wait till after summer, and then after summer comes, and it's like, well, now we're getting delayed, and it's like, well, it's just like, what is going on? But it is what it is. Like, I'd rather the games be the best shape possible when they release, and I'd be I'd rather them release on the proper polished way possible.
Yeah, I mean, and selfishly, I don't want to have to review 7 games in 1 week. So for me, like being able to cover these things properly, it makes way more sense for them to be spaced out a little bit. So selfishly, I'm good with these delays. The big question, I think, is when is Ace of Thunder coming out? They've been saying we hope to still be releasing in 2024, but they're really not making any promises. They're really not even giving us a release window anymore. I think that's our next delay. I think we see that come out in 2025, which is fine.
Totally cool. But yeah, this game, Starship Troopers. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the prospect of a Starship Troopers games. Honestly, even though everybody was just dogpiling on it, and I think some of it's justified. I still, because Starship Troopers is an IP that I've actually liked for a really, really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give it a chance because it is an official Starship Troopers game,
Right.
and in VR, built for VR. So I do want to give it a chance. But I understand the concerns. I share those concerns with everybody. But yeah, the fact that they're delaying it, if it wasn't ready to go, then it's a good thing they delayed it because it's already got a lot going against it, and it needs to at least come out as polished as possible.
Right. I mean, the simple, not to harp on about how this thing looks, but with the relatively simple graphical art style, and just seems like it's Quest 2ified, even though it's obviously. I think I'm just hoping it runs at like 90 native or something. That gives us a nice smooth experience, nice high res experience. Everything's super sharp. At least make what's there look good. We've gotten plenty of games that are like simple graphically that are loads of fun, and so I think there's plenty of hope still left for this. They want to do something very specific. Obviously, they were like, "Oh, we're going to make this multiplayer focused game," and so hey, hopefully they're doing the right thing. But even if it's not great, you're not going to hear me crying about it. All right, man. Well, listen. As you mentioned at the top of the show, yesterday, literally, so this week, literally the 8th anniversary of the release of PlayStation VR1. It's when our little community slowly started forming. It's when Without Paroles kind of started taking off. We found our niche, and I fell in love with VR. That was an amazing, amazing, amazing launch as far as I was concerned. I've told the story a bunch of times. I almost canceled my pre-order at the last second because like I was having a shitty week slash month slash 3-month period of time where like I wasn't making much money at at my serving job, and I was like, man, I just need to cancel this thing. I need to cancel the pre-order. And I had gotten home that night and went to cancel it, and it had like literally just shipped, and it was too late to cancel. And I was like, felt kind of relieved that I was like, hey, I tried to do the right thing for myself financially, but this is something I really want. I've been looking forward to my whole life. So I'm so excited that it's still coming. And of course it showed up and like changed and revitalized my gaming habits for the next decade. So very, very exciting time for me. And so we wanted to, during this 8-year birthday anniversary celebration, take a look back at the PSVR1 games. First party, and a lot of these are going to be second party, but let's not fucking get into the weeds here, right? First and second party, Sony PSVR1 games. We've been complaining for a long time, AJ, about these games should have been there at launch as free games on Plus. They could have done a PSVR Plus package to get all these people like on board with PSVR2. There's a million things that they could have done, a million ways they could have handled this, but instead the way they handled getting these games over to PSVR2 was by not bringing them over to PSVR2 at all, and just making everyone go wonder, what guys, you spent a lot of money making these games, where are they? What the fuck is going on over there, Sony? And so these are games that are essentially mostly trapped on PSVR1. And so I want to take a look back, talk about them, see if they hold up. See if they would hold up on if they just got re-released today. And if they did get re-released today, like, if there was an option to add some extra features or whatever, what would we want? What would we want from them? So just kind of taking this one by one chronologically. Sound good?
Sounds great, man. And yeah, I do want this to try to be mostly positive about this. I know bringing up some of these things is tough because, yeah, I mean, PSVR 1, 8 years ago, man, it's crazy. It is an amazing headset, has an amazing library. The library is really what it was known best for. I mean, that's what kept it alive. And in an era where, in a generation where VR is kind of like just beginning, right? Like, definitely it's in its infancy, the Wild Wild West. And yeah, a lot of these games stood out in many different ways. And while it will be, bring up some things that are frustrating and whatnot, at the same time, it's still, it's fun. It should be fun to reminisce and look back on how amazing some of these games were. And hopefully it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just a matter of time before they get remade again or something. Somebody brings them back, that has happened before. I mean, stuff like Soul Reaver is just now getting remade. Soul Reaver.
All right. So on PSVR 6 then is what you're saying. Yeah.
From 30 years. All I'm saying is it can happen. Like, it can happen. It may take some time, probably will. But all it takes is to have the right person at the right time. And some of these games showing, like a lot of interest and can be profitable or make some money or something, have a positive impact and they'll want to bring him back. So
yeah. And I think listen, I know we don't want to get into the negative here, but I think I want to put a positive spin on the negative, as I probably do way too often. Sony's going through it, man. Right? Like, I mean, people have criticized them for being like, you're putting out a Pro and you barely put out any like PS5 games. Like, it's a tough time, and they've had a tough transition, and I don't think COVID's helped anything, right? Like, there's a lot of different factors at play here. This is a time when people are getting laid off left and right from development studios. This is a time when like PlayStation had to shut down some first party studios. It's just not a good time for games in general. Yes, good games have come out, but like, you look past the veneer and it's kind of chaos. Right? The fact that any games are coming out seems amazing. So like, maybe remastering PSVR1 games that didn't sell very well onto a headset that hasn't sold particularly well is not a top priority for Sony, 2024 Sony that's struggling on all sorts of different fronts. I think I do think, AJ, and maybe you have a different opinion on this, but I do think they're going to find their footing like maybe they've already found their footing and there's like slowly, finding their way and getting organized and getting rid of some of these games as service games and focusing on what matters and getting back to the PS3 Sony that we all loved. Hopefully
The latter half.
they can't be thrilled with the way things are going either, right? And so I do think that we will see these games eventually. They should have been here already. They should have been here by now, and like shit's just crazy. And I think there's lots of reasons why we haven't seen them yet.
Yeah. Well, the reality is that these things take years of planning and contracts and lots of different red tape that they have to go through. You're with a big company like Sony. It's not just like, hey, I have this idea. Okay, let's do it. It's no, let's begin the process. And then 2 years later, we might have a decision to an agreement. And then 2 years later, we can begin development. And then 2 years later. So that's just kind of how everything works, kind of like on a delay. So in a time where the information comes to us so rapidly, we tend to get ahead of ourselves a lot of the time, because it's like, yeah, these things can happen, they should happen, but really the powers that be that can make this happen have to take a lot longer. I mean, again, look at Soul Reaver getting remade, look at Alien Isolation getting a sequel, and like that's just the way that things are going right now. Is that if it's, it can just take a really long time. But yes, let's continue.
And I do want to say I saw who was it? Crap. When I don't copy and paste stuff out of the chat, then I get in trouble. Stuff kind of starts scrolling away from me. Oh, here it is. Virtual Resistance in the chat says, I'm going to be that guy. They don't make a lot of profit from $10 upgrades. Bro, they didn't make much profit from any of their VR games to begin with, right? And so what it does is sells the headset. And then the more headsets they sell, the more third-party games they can sell, and then they can make money off of that. This will be a loss leader for them, right? To port these games, they're probably going to break even on the port, right? And so if they resell them to us, and I think that's part of the conversation today. I want to talk about these games in a sense that, like, yes, would they hold up as is? But so many of these games have very clear upgrades that they could use, and that I think we would all be thrilled to pay for these games all over again, and not be like, oh, well, they should have given us a $10 upgrade. No, we're just happy we got these things, and thank goodness they came with all these bonuses for PSVR2 as well. So
I mean, that's the way we should be. But at the end of the day, if they do release these and they don't have a $10 upgrade, I'm sure people would be angry and be like, no, I'm not doing that. Fuck that.
Of course they will.
And everybody boycott, and that's
right.
That's what would happen. At least that's what I think would happen.
People have been screaming about not getting these games for the last 2 years. And it's like, at a certain point, you just have to be like, hey, listen, we'll pay for them if we have to. We'll pay full price for them if we have to. But again, like, I want to talk about them to see what would make full price worthwhile, right? So I think that's going to be a fun part of the discussion. So let's kick it off with some launch titles, and there were quite a few. With the trailer that's already been playing here for a little bit, PSVR Worlds, featuring the London heist, which was, crazy. That was so immersive and over the top. And then there was Luge, which I hated, but other people liked. Dude, the underwater Ocean's Descent. This is a really good disc.
That's what it was about. I think, this was just like a collection of a couple of different short experiences that were interactive. They were like basically mini games. And obviously, London, what is it? London Heist and Ocean Descent were the standouts here by far. And I think Ocean Descent was one of the first things I ever played in VR, like, ever. So that was a magical experience. And that's what made it so special, was like, for that, an experience like that to be like one of your first experiences when you got the headset, was like, whoa, like, this is like, this instantly shows you, like, welcome to VR. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Listen, and for people who were just getting into VR at that point, like I was, I had never actually, like, really played anything except for some weird cell phone VR stuff. Getting in there and testing all these things out, and then discovering Scavenger's Odyssey and be like, really testing my VR legs. Dude, that shit made me sick. Like, I couldn't play that for the first month, I think, of PSVR. And then, like, I got my VR legs and was like, oh, I can fucking do this now. Right. And so, does this need a physical release? Does this need, like, any massive upgrades? No, this is stuff that you want to throw your friends in, especially into the deep. The second they get into VR, And so, this could be something they could just upscale and throw onto the PlayStation Store. And I think parts of it would actually hold up today. I think the things that wouldn't hold up are the things that didn't really hold up to begin with, right? Like that the baseball game that you played Pong on your face. I was like that. I don't
Danger Ball was actually a lot better than it gets credit for.
I mean, not as far as I'm concerned. I spent a lot of time with Danger Ball, and I was like, this is fucking boring.
I mean, I didn't spend tons of time with it, but it was better than I thought it was, because I went and revisited it, and I was like, this is actually like pretty good.
Yeah,
like special effects, good showcase,
Yeah, I mean, listen, they could do some very cool things with the headset haptics, right? With Danger Ball, with even the downhill racing, whatever the hell that thing was. What was it?
Just the luge?
Yeah, the luge.
Luge?
They could do some really cool things with like headset haptics and whatever. And I think even going underwater. If you start above water and then like you kind of get the headset rumble as you submerge into the water.
Yeah.
All these little things would add extra immersion.
Well, the good news is, I will say, I mean, we are getting subside. So I will say that is at least a promising replacement for this. But
agreed.
I do hope to see this. Unfortunately, this was made by London Studio, though,
yep.
Who no longer exists. And that's, right. And yeah, so...
that's the downside. The upside is that like I don't really think they'd be like, hey, London Studio, you're the guys who are going to remaster PSVR Worlds, right? No.
Yeah.
If London Studio
could, yeah.
If London Studio was still around, they'd still be working on their massive MMO like fantasy game that takes place in London, right? It's like, right. Yeah, any port studio could totally handle this. Sony obviously still has the source code, and so the studio shutting down sucks big time. But I don't think prevents us from getting remasters.
Yeah, I would love for this to come back. It was really fun to experience, and I would have loved a sequel too.
Oh my God, we've had like multiple episodes of Gamescast where we talk about what would we want on a PSVR Worlds 2.
Yeah.
Grandpa's Barbecue or Gamecat with a level 1 membership says, how many of these PSVR1 titles are on PC? Very few. Very few. In fact, as I was making the list, I was like, stuck on PSVR1. Stuck on PSVR1. Like over and over and over. AJ, like our next game, Driveclub VR.
Oof.
Did you say oof?
I said oof.
Don't say oof. What's your oof about?
I just realized the first like 3 of these are just like all closed studios, and I'm just like oof.
Oh yeah, that's true. This was Evolution, right? And
yeah,
and dude, such a cool game. Now talk about a game that didn't get the credit it deserved at launch. This is a game that just was like stunning. The interiors of the car were like super sharp and detailed and like practically photorealistic. And then the courses, while much lower resolution, gave us so much variety. And they, you're not just racing around and around the track, you're racing through environments, and they're all so different, like cherry blossoms and cities and whatever. And I was like, man, this game, like people shit on this game so much. And dude, what an amazing experience. This is one of the first games I ever played. I think it was Until Dawn Rush of Blood and then this. And like I fell over on my couch the very first turn I took in the game, just using my DualShock 4. I took the turn and just went boom, right over because I was compensating for centrifugal force that didn't exist in VR. Amazing. I love Gran Turismo, but this is a little more arcadey, and again, not straightforward tracks. Like you get to race through environments. I'd really like to see Drive Club get another shot.
Yeah, it took me a while to come around on Drive Club, and it still wasn't like I wasn't the biggest fan overall. But I will say this is a game that would massively benefit from an upgrade, like enhanced. The visuals were basically the biggest problem because some places look terrible, some places look pretty good, and when it looked pretty good, it was a lot more fun for me. But sadly, it didn't look that great overall. I was never really the biggest fan of the Drive Club series overall. Yep. I've just I've always been a big fan of Gran Turismo, and it didn't really do enough different to like really make me love it. And the flat screen game I don't think did very well either. But like I said, it was a cool game, and I've definitely been okay with the remaster.
Yeah. Listen, I think what this needed to do was be its own thing. It was too much of this arcade sim hybrid, and like, you know what? Honestly, like I think PlayStation or Sony just needed their own arcade racer, right? Like Ridge Racer doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. Burnout doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. Drive Club could have been their arcade racer, and like
it needed to go full arcade mode.
Yeah, if it had differentiated itself enough, it could have found its own audience. Instead, it was like somewhere stuck in the middle, and like no driving, no racing fan was quite sure if it was for them or not. And so I totally get why it didn't quite work out.
Yeah. The only reason I think it had like any popularity, to be honest, was that it had multiplayer, versus Gran Turismo Sport, which didn't. But yeah, I don't think, while it sucks, and yes, I would have liked to see it, still exist and move and on next gen or whatever. Like I'm not terribly heartbroken about this one, to be honest.
I'm heartbroken because it's a racing game. I'm like if they gave this a little bit more love and brought it over to PSVR2. I mean, dude, I got my racing rig set up, and if this could be practically photorealistic in PSVR2, this is a game I would love.
It would be awesome.
Yeah,
it would be awesome on PSVR2, especially boasting the graphical fidelity and everything, and it would have looked really nice. And and it was fun. Like once you kind of like sunk your teeth into it deeper and got deeper into it, you started to really see like the value that it has.
Yep, absolutely. All right, man. This one's gonna be a little bit divisive. Maybe we got Riggs Mechanized Combat League, which is was this by Gorilla? I can't.
Cambridge Studio.
Cambridge, thank you.
Which is I think an offset of Gorilla or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got the Gorilla, and then it says Cambridge. So okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. The trailer answered our questions. Beautiful game. This looked razor sharp in the headset. They did not give a fuck if you were susceptible to motion sickness. They were like, we're gonna take all the rails off and like just go jump around and hover around and run. And I mean, it was intense. It was intense. And again, this was one that during the first month I had difficulties playing. But it looked beautiful, and they just like really said, we don't care about motion sickness. I mean, there were comfort settings, but they wanted to make sure they delivered the game they wanted to deliver, despite the fact that people might get sick. And I have respect for that. They delivered on their vision, and I love that. My problem with this was that it was a sport that I didn't care about. I tried to like this sport, and it was like not fun for me. And so I mean, other than that, like if they like reworked the sport a little bit, I'd love to see this game come back and be like, oh yeah, here's the game that you would have enjoyed if we just, I don't know. There's gonna be people in the chat who want to crucify me because they're like, there are some Riggs defenders out there who are like, no, the sport's great. You just suck at it, Brian, and which is probably true.
I loved Riggs. Now, okay, so it had a couple problems though, right? Like it was limited to a sports only mode, and was a little repetitive.
When you say sports only mode, do you mean like as opposed to like a deathmatch mode where you just run around and kill each other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was going to get to that in terms of like what I would want from a remaster or something. But I mean, it was limited to just the sports mode, and the biggest problem for me was just the game balance. It seemed like it had these awful difficulty spikes once you got like going in it. And it seemed like at one point the game just becomes impossible, especially playing by yourself. And VR does not really do that well with forcing you to play online multiplayer only, especially for the best way to play it. And that I think was the biggest problem. If it was a little bit more tailor made for a single player experience, I think it would have done a little bit better. But yeah, I liked this game a good bit. It was definitely a fun like first thing to experience, and I think it was marketed really well too. It was first shown at like some like French French showcase thing. I forget which one's the French one, but I don't know. I thought it had really good marketing, and it was a cool demo and first thing to check out as well. Yeah, I would totally love a remaster of this because you can say all day that there aren't enough racers, and that's true. There aren't enough racers in VR.
Yep.
But there is severely lacking mech games here, and
Yep.
this was an awesome mech game. And could you imagine this with the orbs and with the haptics, the headset rumble,
Yep.
the adaptive triggers, the joysticks, and being able to move around with your arms freely and everything? Add some melee combat, add some, some deathmatch modes, get that gameplay balanced, and you would have had like a really, really great remaster out of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just realizing, was Starblood Arena supposed to be on this list?
Yes, it was.
All right. So let's talk about Starblood Arena next.
Bring back Starblood.
I was like, I wasn't there was a lot of smaller titles that I was like, oh, should I put this on? I was like, people aren't probably going to be interested, and plus it's going to be a 4-hour show if we talk about everything. But Starblood, as we were talking about that, I was like, man, Starblood Arena is such a fucking good game. And,
and it was way ahead of its time.
Yeah. Well, and I think what made me think of it was that, here we are. It's, you're flying around all of these great different ships, all unique, and they have their own, powers and special abilities.
Characters.
Exactly. And then there was a sports mode in there, right? Like you get the ball to the goal, but that like was just one of the options. And so I think Starblood kind of did what we wanted from Riggs already. Dude, when the pro version of this came out, it was like it must have been a bump in the resolution that did this. It made everything, all the depth seem 100 times more realistic. So everything, I mean, it looked next gen on the PS4 Pro. It was just amazing. If you guys didn't play this, it was short-lived. I feel bad for anyone who never got to play this. Amazing game. Again, even for somebody like me who wasn't into multiplayer games at the time, I got obsessed with this and had so much fun.
Yeah, this was one of the games that kind of ignited the community. I mean, this was a big catalyst for that, bringing a bunch of people together and interacting with each other. And this is like how, the PSVR community, Starblood Arena played a big part in shaping it to begin with.
Yep, absolutely.
You could remaster this and you wouldn't really have to do a damn thing to it. It'd be great.
Yep. I mean, like, give us some flight stick controls. Give us obviously, 2 hands in the game so that we can operate the levers and everything. Do it that way. And firing off missiles by like pulling some chain or something like that. I mean, like, there's a lot of things you could do with this. And dude, White Moon Dreams, the developer of this, one of the most talented studios I've ever spoken to during all my time doing this. Just I would be shocked if they didn't want to bring this game to PSVR2. I think they would just have to get the A-OK from Sony. Would love to see how this. Would love to see how have this get another chance. And part of me says, you know what, like, put it out on Quest and Steam as well in order to get the player base up, because obviously this is a game that thrives on multiplayer, and so not usually about bring it to Quest 2, whatever, but like, do it. Like, let's get as many people playing this game as possible so that the lobbies are always full. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. I even enjoyed the bot mode.
That's true. And
shout out to the soundtrack too. Can I just say, shout out to the amazing soundtrack. It was like a mix of punk rock and metal and like all sorts of stuff. It was great.
Yeah. We kind of jumped around a little bit because we weren't quite off of when I threw Starblood into the mix, we weren't quite out of the release day yet. Amazingly enough, all the games we talked about other than Starblood so far, including this next game, all came out at launch. And so anyone who said PSVR1 didn't have a good launch, you are out of your mind. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. Oh my God, this is the introduction of my old reviews. I just got brought back very quickly. I was like, oh my God. Dude, I think a lot of people leading up to the launch PSVR1 were like, oh yeah, and then there's this like kind of throwaway Until Dawn game, right? This rail shooter where you're like we're on a roller coaster. Like, what is this? This has nothing to do with Until Dawn. And they're like, kind of, right? It has lots of references to the game, a lot of shout outs, a lot of Easter eggs, but who cares? Because it ended up being one of the best, if not the best. No, fuck it. It's the best rail shooter I've ever played. And it's insanely scary. This game not being on PSVR2 and instead we get Switchback is one of the biggest travesties of this generation so far. This game deserves to be on PSVR2 with the blacks of the OLED panel, right? With the adaptive triggers of the Sense controllers, with the haptics of the headset and the controllers. This is a game that will shine on PSVR2. And like the worst thing is when you hear Supermassive go, "Oh yeah, you just got to convince Sony to let us do it." That is so painful to hear because like that means like that they're down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood is a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. It is literally the reason I even like was interested in VR in the first place, because I mean, I've told this a billion times, but yeah, it's literally the reason I became interested in VR, because I love light gun arcade shooters, and this is like where the future of light gun arcade shooters was going, where I saw it going. And yeah, it's the whole reason I got into VR, and I agree with you. It's the best light gun shooter I've ever played in my life. Light gun, rail gun, or rail shooter, whatever you want to call it. It's an amazing game. It is super high quality, and it's great for first time VR players or VR veterans alike. It's a game for everybody except for those that, you know, have a weak stomach or like, you know, can't handle like anything scary at all. But yeah, this is one of the best games, I think, one of the best VR games ever made. And I think for that alone, it should absolutely, it is a travesty that it has not been remastered, that it wasn't remastered and carried over. And the fact that they did a sequel to it and didn't bring this over, it's like, who's in charge here? Like, I want to talk to the manager. I'm going to go full Karen on them, because it's like, it's like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? Amazing game. I still keep my PS4 Pro because of this game. I shit you not, because it has problems on PS5. I mean, that's the other thing that's annoying, is like it has. I would be happy if they just patched it to like work properly on PS5 with a PSVR1, but you know, screw it. Like, give me a full remaster. This deserves it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, listen, I don't think there's a bad level in Rush of Blood, right? So, like, you know, while you're bringing this to us, like, you know, throw a few extra levels in there, you know, throw all the PSVR2 bonus features in there, like, give flesh it out, man. Like, because they charged $20 for this, and it was like so polished, right? $20 games today do not feel very polished. $20 games, or this $20 game felt extremely polished. Like, charges. Throw a bunch more stuff in there and charge us more, right? Like, I want more Rush of Blood, right?
Yeah,
some more levels.
I'd pay $40 for this easily.
Yeah, it's so funny. We've talked about like what 5 or 6 games in so far, and so far all of them, just bringing them over to PSVR2, they would not only hold up but kind of blow away a lot of the crap that we've been playing for the last few years. That's not to disparage like PSVR2's library. That's just saying that VR hasn't really evolved as much as we would have liked it to in the last 8 years, right? Like, we kind of like hit this awesome peak early on, and we've sort of just been like teetering there the whole time and waiting for the next peak to arrive. And that's true for this next game too, man. I know that you're going to go to bat for this because it's one of your favorites, but it's Farpoint, Impulse Gear, second party game. The fact that this is done on PSVR2 is insane, right? We have tons of first person shooters. We don't have a ton of sci-fi first person shooters, and we definitely don't have a lot of them that tell an amazing story like this, that are this polished. It's such a memorable game for so many reasons, and I don't think this is anywhere else. I don't think you can get this on Steam. It's definitely not on Quest. Like, so again, another amazing game stuck on PSVR1. 0 upgrades, AJ. Just bring it over as is, just so it's not stuck on PSVR1. This game's amazing.
Yeah, obviously the challenge would be having to redesign the controls for, you know, not using an aim controller, but I think it could be done. But yeah, man, I mean, again, we're talking about another, not just one of the best PSVR1 games, one of the best VR games, period.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a AAA first party shooter, or second party, whatever it is. But yeah, I don't think to this day, I don't think any VR game has ever mastered storytelling the way that this game does. The story that it tells. Farpoint was the game that I played and made me go, holy shit, VR is the future. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm not even joking. I literally thought that when playing Farpoint. Like, I was like, this is the future of gaming right here. Because the quality of the shooting, the gameplay, the graphics were really awesome, the models, everything, and then the storytelling was just like the cherry on top. I mean, you don't get very many good stories in games, and this was just like, just everything was amazing. And then on top of that, it had a co-op, which was also amazing. And then it had a PvP. And I'd say all I would do is just remaster it, give it
the basics as far as support goes on PSVR2.
Yeah. You don't even have to put all the manual reloading and stuff. That'd be nice, but I don't think that really has to be there for this. Right. And just add 5v5 PvP instead of 1v1. And boom, you're done. I would pay $70 for that. I'm not even joking.
I would too. I think I saw, was it Shades of Grey Matter in the chat? Yeah, it says visually this game is absolutely shits on 95% of VR games to this day. And he's not wrong. It still looks stunning on PS4 Pro. Again, this is another one that added, the up the resolution with the Pro and really gave everything that sense of depth. It just felt amazing, especially with the aim controller. I'm not even asking for an aim controller, Sony. I know that's maybe beyond what we can get. So, it
would take a lot of work, but I would pay full price for a fully reworked,
Yeah.
The gameplay mechanics is what they would have to rework. But man, I mean, can you imagine this game without controller drift?
Right.
It'd be so great.
Yeah, no, this is the game that made me fall in love with Rob Yescombe's writing. And I don't think he's matched this game since. He's had some cool projects, but I don't think he's matched the emotion, the depth, just the overall. Yeah, like something that grabs a hold of you right away and immediately makes you go, huh. And you don't kind of stop doing that until the very end when you're like, God damn, and I think I shed a tear or two. This is definitely one. And dude, so many people remember this at launch for the campaign, but yeah, they don't know that multiplayer, the co-op stuff was added later because that was added later. They don't know that there was this whole progression system that was added for the weapons. All the weapons, you could upgrade every single one by using them over and over and over. That was a late addition as well. This all got patched in later. The game gets so much more detail and depth added to it over time. And then these guys go off and they develop Larcenauts. And it's just such a shame, dude, that such a talented studio went from this to Larcenauts, a hero shooter, long after hero shooters were anything people cared about. It was just it's just such a shame. This is what you can do with Sony money, guys. This is what you can do with Sony money. Larcenauts is what you can do with your own money.
Yeah, it is interesting too that they would spend so much on some of these games that we're revisiting here. These games, I mean, these had to be expensive. These had to be AAA quality prices to develop, and it still amazes me and confuses me that wouldn't you want, after investing all that, to remaster it and spend as little as possible remastering it? And it would cost a little bit more, but man,
they'd get a second lease on life, man. And maybe the potential to make some money instead of
just eating that cost.
Yeah. They definitely lost money on all of these games. But again, they believed in VR, or they seem to believe in VR a lot more then, right?
They believe it.
I think they still believe in VR. I think they do. But these are the types of things that we liked seeing constantly, where there was this just nonstop proof of Sony being listen, we know we're not going to make our money back on these games, but this is our proof that we love VR and we are trying to push it forward, right? They are definitely relying far, far, far more on third parties this generation. And fortunately, there's a lot more quality third-party studios to allow that to happen, right? While Sony kind of finds their footing again. But this is yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is a little bit sad going down memory lane here and being like, yeah.
Well, it is a little bit sad, but at the same time, I still have my PSVR1, so I can still play it if I want to. But yeah, it's like I want other people to get to experience this, to see how amazing some of these games were, and that's what it's more about to me. And you know, I'm in an era, like there's a lot of remasters that are showing to be pretty successful these days, and it's like, yeah, it's like that should show you that, you know, while new IPs are important and everything, it's like here's a quick and the quickest, easiest way to bring a, you know, multiple $1 million project over and you know, keep like you said, get a second lease on it.
Yeah, listen, we are in the era of remakes and remasters, and they've got that Nexus studio, whose like primary job seemed to be bringing games over to PC because that was what they were good at. They've made a reference recently to saying, "Hey, like our next projects are going to be great." And it would be amazing to have a studio like Nexus or similar that were just really good at bringing these PSVR1 games over to PSVR2. It's like, so you get this in-house studio. You're not, you know, outsourcing this and paying way more money than you need to. You get this in-house studio that's working just around the clock on this stuff, right? And I, you know, and people who are good at it and know what they're doing and just can kind of churn them out one after another until we're all caught up. That's what we're looking for.
Yep. Snafu says, I'm currently playing Farpoint for the first time.
Nice.
Better late than never, man. Good on you.
Yep. Absolutely. Leather. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Leather Faceville VR. I like it. With the level 1 membership, says London Heist still has the best firing range. Hell yeah. I remember that firing range being pretty awesome.
I don't remember the firing range.
Oh yeah. It's like a whole separate mode in the London Heist, which was just one of the games. It's crazy. It was like a whole other game inside the game. All right, man. No one's going to disagree with us on this one. Wipeout Omega Collection. This was one that we were all very, very excited for. I remember getting the phone call or text messages. It was nonstop notifications. I'll say that.
3 in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning, being like, the patch dropped. And it's like, I'm up. Like, immediately go live stream. It's like, let's go play this thing. And dude, doesn't disappoint. This thing, beautiful on PSVR1. Almost like, how are they making this work? Right? Just how is it even possible that they are getting this thing to look as close to the flat screen version as possible? Amazing. Roller coaster racing right here, boys and girls. If you haven't played it, you need to play it.
Yeah, that was an incredible day and an incredible experience. Yeah, that's also the first time I met like a bunch of cats for the first time because we were just playing all day long.
Yeah.
And it was great. Preda also came out around that time too. But
these were the days.
Preda can wait. Yeah, I mean, Wipeout Omega Collection. This is one of the ones, another one of these where it's just like, this needs to be remastered on PSVR2. Yep. Needs to be remade for PS5. It needs a PS5 SKU and it needs a PSVR2 SKU. Or just they'd be the same. But yeah, this is like, I mean, this game looks still to this day looks like almost like a PSVR2 game on a PSVR1. It's one of the best looking games on PSVR1, and yeah, tons of content, super fun.
It was 3 full games.
Game modes.
It was 3 full games. That's what Omega Collection was. It was like 3 full games, all in one, all in VR, top to bottom. Amazing. There's so much depth here.
And if I would I'd remaster it into like 4K, 4K 90 frames per second.
Sure.
And or 2K 90 frames per second. And I would add
I'd go 8K 120 frames per second.
Yes.
Native.
Maybe an in-game HOTAS or something, or just use the joysticks. I don't know. Like,
or give it HOTAS support, which it didn't have.
Give it HOTAS support. Yeah, give it HOTAS support. Give it joystick support. Give it in-game HOTAS support. Those 3 options,
dude. And just like how
racing wheel, maybe. I don't know.
Imagine that low rumble, like in your headset and in your controllers, just as like you're hovering there. I don't know if a lot of cats remember
when
this
you
or
get
not.
hit.
Oh yeah. I want to feel that for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if a lot of cats remember this. Like you could turn off all the comfort settings. And so that like you were like swaying with the ship while you're waiting at the starting line. And it's like, it was the coolest feeling ever. Like that you don't get to really appreciate when you're in the middle of like this crazy race, right? But like when you're swaying with the ship, it was unbelievable VR feeling, and I can only imagine like just like the low rumble in the sense controllers in the headset, just kind of simulating that, like that futuristic, like not gas powered engine, whatever the fuck this is just giving the whole thing a little bit of a rumble, and like just adding to the anticipation of like that, you know, 3, 2, 1, go, and then boom. It's, I don't know, man. I feel like I can feel it in my hands and in my head. Like,
Yeah.
we need it now.
I played this not too long ago, and it still holds up, and it's still amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy how many of these hold up. I think almost all of them hold up, AJ, to some degree or another.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, here we are, we're begging for more racing games, you know, whether they be driving or flight or whatever they might be, kart racing. Just we want more of them, because that's like some of the stuff that impresses people the most in VR. And this impressed us on PSVR1. It will impress people again on PSVR2. They just need to do it.
Yep. This is another one of those must-haves on next-gen stuff. Deserves so much better.
Yeah. Well, the next one is our next supermassive game. This is the Inpatient, also based on Until Dawn, set like I think 50 years or something before the events of Until Dawn. More of an interactive movie. This thing was like 2 hours long. You kind of like, you could shake your head yes and no. I think did it have voice commands? I think it did.
It was supposed to. Yeah, it
Supposed
did
to.
a little bit.
Yeah, but it was a lot more of just like going through conversations than it was actually playing a game. And they wanted you to play it and replay it and replay it and replay it, because I think it had like 6 different endings. And unfortunately, you had to go through about 90 minutes of the exact same conversations every single time, remembering what you had answered last time so you could answer a different one this time to get a different ending. And so, like, listen, does this need to be remastered? Yeah, but it also needs to be completely reworked, right? Like, because they tried to make this 4-hour game into a 2-hour game that you would replay 6 times, and it was like, that's not how this needs to work, right? Let us see everything on the first try.
Yeah, this is okay. Just an average game. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't good either. Just very average, if not below. I'd probably below average. And yeah, it was like fine for like an interactive movie for 2 hours or whatever. And definitely not worth $40, which was like basically the depth of it. I don't really care if this got remastered or not. I could take it or leave it. I wouldn't want to play it again, probably remastered. So I'd probably pass on this one. There's far more important things to cover.
Yeah, listen, as is, it's a pass. But definitely, if they were willing to rework the entire game, there were some good scares. The environments looked amazing. Lots of interesting stuff with physics. But I'm willing to pass on it because, AJ, where the fuck is the persistence? Why isn't this on PSVR2 yet?
Yes.
They even made a PlayStation 5 version. I'm so confused what happened here. This makes no sense. This makes no sense, even in the slightest. But this was the Persistence was such an amazing game. We were all looking forward to it for a really long time. It was one of the first roguelites I kind of remember playing in VR. So we were definitely not sick of the genre yet. But man, like, they had just enough crafted scares to not make it feel cheap. And man, I was, even though it had DualShock 4 support only, I was addicted to this one until I beat it.
I don't think the Persistence ever left our top 10 of our list. Right. And yeah, it was always like around like 8 or something. This was a phenomenal game. And yeah, for everybody like me that grew up loving things like System Shock 2, and yeah, it's basically PlayStation System Shock. And this is a first party studio currently owned by Sony, and so yeah, there's really no excuse for this not to be remastered. And with move support, or I mean with orb support, there's like literally no excuse. So yeah, it should happen. It's an amazing game. It has tons of content. It's super quality, super fun, super scary, thrilling, all the things. And yeah, it's like basically the closest thing to a System Shock VR that we got, and it's incredible. This hands down there should be no question about it. This should be remade by first party Firesprite.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like I said, they've already gotten a PS5 edition out there, right? It takes advantage of the PS5. I was shocked at that point that they did not also bring it to PSVR2. It's like, you've already brought it to PS5. Let's make this happen. The thing I need to see from this is some awesome sense control support, right? Because the first one was only DualShock 4. And so you would like grab onto an enemy with like some kind of like special ability, and like by using a trigger, and then you to slam them against the wall or the ceiling, you'd have to like turn your head like
Yeah.
to shoot the beam left and right and up and down. And I'm like, okay, this is cool, but it's not real fun. Like, it would be way cooler to
Yeah.
grab with the trigger and slam left and right and have that adaptive trigger support, and then feel like you're like really struggling with it, you know?
Yeah, I do recall many times slamming around space zombies like this, like hitting the floor and the ceiling, like going like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, could be done better. And man, what a game! What an amazing game! Literally the biggest surprise of me that year, probably the biggest surprise.
Yeah. Shades of Grey Matter says, did you guys miss Here They Lie? Yes, we did. We missed a lot of games because we didn't want this to be a 3-hour show, and we've talked a lot about Here They Lie on GamesCast over the last couple weeks. So my apologies if anybody's upset that we're not talking about a specific game that they're looking for. But I think no one will be upset that we're asking for Astrobot Rescue Mission to come to PSVR 2. This is, I think, in my head at least, the least they could do for us after what happened with Flat Screen Astrobot. I'm not even asking them to make an Astrobot Rescue Mission 2 currently, right? We don't need a new game. Are you really going to lay on that right now? Is that what you're going to do? Yeah? Okay, that's fine. We just really need a remaster of this. And yes, it's going to take some work because it was designed around the DualShock 4, right? And so it would have to be, they'd have to rework all those first person gadgets. So I know it's not the easiest thing, but I think it's something that they should do because this game needs to be preserved.
It's such a bunch of bullshit. Like, if they can take flat games and rework them to VR, then they can take a VR game and rework it to VR. Like, easy. It should be easier to do that. Yeah, no, it's a bunch of bullshit that this hasn't happened yet. Astrobot Rescue Mission was widely considered to be one of the best games on PSVR. It won #1 on ours. It won #1. It won the Game of the Year award for the very first Without Parole awards. You know, Astrobot is proving to be a very popular flat screen game right now, and yeah, for good reason. I mean, people love platformers that are for everybody, and it's a great character, it's a great world, it's an amazing VR experience, all of the things, a great game too. This needs to happen. Hopefully this does happen, because there still is a chance of this happening. And yeah, it's, again, just one of those head scratchers where it's like why has Sony not remastered any of these?
Right. Listen, I firmly believe there's going to be an Astrobot Rescue Mission 2 on PSVR 2. Okay. Like, I do feel like that they want these games to have their own separate thing, that each game should take advantage of the controller that, these are the guys who first showed off the Dual Sense to us. Right. And so like, I think I get their philosophy on all this, but what they need is to, tell us that there's an Astrobot Rescue Mission 2 in development for PlayStation VR 2 that specifically takes advantage of the haptics in the headset and the adaptive triggers and all that stuff in the sense controllers. But also, once they have that engine all set and up and running, that's when they should also have some people over there bringing this game into that engine, right? And so then they've got the 2 sense controllers in there and all that. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the announcement of one and the other kind of around the same time, just with like drastically different release dates, right? Because when VR becomes their focus again, if VR becomes their focus again, even as I'm saying it, I'm like, Brian, you sound like a fucking crazy person. Get off your conspiracy theories. This is never going to happen. Go to bed, old man. Like, I don't like, that's what makes sense to me. But
Yep.
Let's talk about a game, AJ. A little bit of an underdog game here. A little game that didn't get the appreciation it deserved when it came out. And this is From Software's Deracine, which was Again, I think very divisive because it was node to node teleportation. There really wasn't a lot of animation in the environments because everything was sort of supposed to be frozen in time as you were going through these places. But at the same time, it told a really great story. Eventually got turned really, really dark. And it was very interesting to see what From Software wanted to do with the hardware. I want this game. I want to play it again, but I need some full locomotion. Like, I am done with teleportation, AJ. This is nonsense. Get rid of teleportation, give us full locomotion, let us explore this school, or it's an orphanage, I think, right? And because it was a beautiful orphanage, I want to be able to do that without having to thump, 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 node to node teleportation.
It is a beautiful game, and shout out to Nick Mulo, who was relentless in peer pressuring me to play this, and I eventually did, and I was like, all right, it was okay. It was divisive because you hear From Software and you think, oh my god, a Souls game or something like that, anything like that, and then what do we get? We get an obscure kind of like, I don't want to say horror, but because it wasn't really horror.
Eventually it is.
It had some horror elements to it, some of that stuff to it, but it was solid. Like, it was okay. I think I got the platinum on it actually. Nice. But yeah, it was just a point. It was a node teleportation, character driven, narrative driven
puzzle game. That too.
Puzzle game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was okay. I think a remaster would be cool. I don't think I'd play it again, but a remaster would be fine.
I would definitely play it again. But again, I'm like, let's get with the times here. This needs to be updated for 2024 standards. We do not want to teleport. I mean, some people do, but I'm speaking for myself. Real quick, let's give a shout out to Josh Zosky with the $5 tip. Says, it's so bad. What up? Yeah, what up, Hugo? I'm sorry, I didn't recognize your name. It's so bad they don't port PSVR1 exclusive like Astrobot, Farpoint, Blood and Truth, etc. That would drastically increase the value of PSVR2. Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's I think that's exactly what we're saying here, Josh. They might not like gain a lot of money on sales of individual games like this, but overall, people consider PSVR1 one of the best VR libraries, if not the best VR library that's ever existed. And so, like, get those games over here, and fewer people will complain about the library.
Yeah, it adds value to the headset and making people go buy the headset more, which is what you want to do as a hardware company. So yeah, I don't know. We're all collectively scratching our heads together because it makes no sense.
Also, bring Bloodborne into VR.
And also make Bloodborne VR, please.
Just saying. Like, let's do this. All right.
Yes. Right after that, I'm sure they'll do it right after that 60 frames per second version.
Yeah, right. It comes out at 60 frames per second. Everyone's like, should have been 120.
Yeah.
So we've been waiting for
by the time it comes out, it should be 4K 120.
All right, man. This is one that I've been waiting for to talk about and waiting to play again. Very sad that we don't have it. Everybody's Golf VR that came out May 21st, 2019. This was everything I wanted from Hot Shots Golf, Everybody's Golf in VR. Obviously, I would have loved more content, more courses, more everything. But man, like, it felt so good to be on these courses and utilize the move controller like perfectly, right? Everything was great, but it wasn't great. It just it was the only really good golf game we had on the system, so it was easy to overlook some of its flaws. But there are lots of flaws that I want to talk about after AJ gets his 2 cents in, and I want to talk about how this game could be an absolutely killer app on PSVR 2.
Yeah, this is basically the opposite of Walkabout Mini Golf, where it was lacking a lot of features, a lot of variety, a lot of depth, and lots of different features. But it was beautiful. Like, it was really, really beautiful, and it did play well too. Like, it actually, I don't know how the hell they got that algorithm to work that magic to be able to swing a golf club in VR with the light with the light tracking, and it do it pretty well. Yeah, it was a fantastic game that was missing some things, which obviously, Brian, I will let you take it away with the things that you would easily turn this game around with if you were to add into the remaster remake.
So I barely even have to say it. Just go check out Clap Hands Ultimate Swing Golf on Quest, right? These are the guys who made Everybody's Golf VR. These guys have been making all the Everybody's Golf games. And then they went to Quest and were able to make their own golf game, Ultimate Swing Golf. And they added multiplayer that this didn't have. They added more courses that this didn't have. This only had 3. And they didn't make it so dating sim caddy focused, right? Like, I don't want to date my caddies, guys. Like, like, I mean, that's another game. I'm happy to play that game too, right? Like, let's make a sexy summer lesson game. I'm fine with that. But when I'm playing golf, man, I want to play golf, and I want to play golf with my friends. So I do think that they released this game. I think it was like $30. So they released it at a budget price, and it didn't have all the features people were looking for. And that's what I want from a remaster. But at this point, fuck it, man. Just ask Clap Hands to bring Ultimate Swing Golf that they've already made on Quest over to PSVR2, and I can finally say goodbye to Everybody's Golf VR. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'll be happy to say goodbye to this game if we get the better game.
Yeah, that's all it needs. Just give it a single player campaign or play against AI and multiplayer, and boom, you're golden. Even with its 3 courses. Well, no, add more courses to it. But even if you don't, just give it a single player single player and multiplayer, and that's it.
Right. This is another one, man, that I'm very interested in talking about. This next one. It's Blood and Truth, PSVR1. Obviously, they've all been PSVR1 games, which is a pretty awesome first-person shooter, but like kind of on rails. You have control over when you move, but you don't have control over the movement when you're moving. It was a very strange hybrid of a game that felt like it was made by people who were scared of giving people like complete freedom in VR. They were like, we're taking a step towards what you want, but we're not giving you completely what you want. Although you might disagree with me, AJ. Maybe you'll say this is the time crisis in VR that you've always wanted. Go ahead, say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. He wasn't listening, you guys. He wasn't listening. It's okay. What do you think? What do you think of the locomotion in this game? So I think that's the most divisive part of this, because obviously this was a nonstop, over the top action movie game. It was like 4 hours, 4.5, 5 hours of nonstop action and shooting, and even some decent story. But all the movement was handled kind of node to node. You'd slide from one to the next. Did you like that, or did you wish they'd just let you off the rails?
The locomotion did not bother me in this game. Okay. What bothered me was that it was, I think, 5 hours long, and it was 2.5 hours of actual gameplay.
Oh,
and
right.
The other 2.5 hours were just boring cutscenes, and that was the big problem with it. But the game itself was a fantastic experience. It was an amazing. It had some of the most memorable moments. The really like these. It lets you feel like you're James Bond kind of thing. And it was a lot of fun. I don't think I'd really change anything, because you'd really basically have to extend the game that's already there, and that's just a lot of work. I would just say just remaster it and leave it as is. Personally, I think that there's enough to be enjoyed there, and it was cool.
Yeah, I'm with you on this in the sense that, like, I think it would just be too much work and it wouldn't be worth reworking it to give me what I'm looking for, right? It's like the game itself was totally fine. Make sure you can skip the cutscenes this time around, because there was a lot of them, like you said. Maybe the thing that they kind of screwed up with here, I think, is that these are the same guys. This is London Studio who made the London Heist. And the London Heist, a good chunk of that part in PSVR Worlds was, Sirens on my end, was talking to people, sitting there and just listening to conversations, but they gave you so much stuff on the table and around you to fuck with. You pick up a pile of money, and you pick up a lighter, and you do that. You'd get a cell phone, you can play around with the phone. They give you so much stuff to interact with during these conversations that even if you weren't totally interested in what the person was saying, you were entertaining yourself. And
the
that,
characters just weren't interesting
well,
either.
and they just didn't give you that in Blood and Truth, right? They didn't give
Yeah.
you stuff to screw around with, and they said it was on purpose. And I was like, well, then you screwed up, because they said, well, we wanted people to pay attention. I was like, I was so bored. I was like, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
But it's a great
Yeah.
game, and it carries over some of the great stuff from London Heist, like being in the passenger seat of a vehicle racing down a highway as like you're shooting other cars or people driving up on motorcycles and stuff. Like that's the kind of excitement we want in VR.
Yeah. The cinematic moments were really special. I mean, that's still 2.5 hours of like AAA quality, like cinematics in VR. And yeah, like, you know, from, like you said, from racing in the cars, being the passenger shooting, to jumping out of an exploding casino. Like all these things were like, you know, a building being something they straight up stole some of this stuff from like Casino Royale, like running out of a building that's being destroyed by a crane and things like that. These are like the things to me. This is what you do with VR. Like this is what the kind of ride you take people on for an unforgettable VR experience. And in that regard, it was amazing. It was almost perfect. And yeah.
And then finally, maybe the saddest story of all. AJ, this is Media Molecules Dreams, which is, I mean, listen, you go on Twitter right now and you go look at some of the people who are still super invested in making Dreams games over on PlayStation 4 and PS4 Pro, and even on PlayStation 5. They're still making VR games with Dreams. It's so sad that we're not getting an official PS5 version, or I'm sorry, an official PSVR2 version, right? Because they struggled a lot with some of the controller stuff, the DualShock, the Move controllers, the aim support, right? It's like, just here we are. We just want one set of controllers, PSVR2. As you know, AJ, some of the best looking things we ever saw in VR were in Dreams. They were amazing creations by amazingly talented, aspiring game devs, people making this out of their bedrooms, and they had, Media Molecule had created this such an amazing engine that you were able to literally flip a switch and go from playing something in flat screen to VR, and it looked just as good when you got into VR. How they did it is kind of like a minor miracle, right? It just looked stunning.
Oh, yeah, and I agree with you. Still to this day, some of the best VR experiences I've ever had came from Dreams. Hypercycle Arena, you know, Jungle Bill, so many, so many, like at least like 40 or 50. Yeah, it's crazy to me that this game came out months before PS5 came out, and there was no PS5 version. There was no official PS5 version. I mean, we were this close, this close, months away from the PS5 release. It is still shocking to me that they did not make a PS5 version and a PSVR2 version. And it's a damn shame. We would have been so set having this.
Cancel every PSVR2 game right now, and we would be fine for the next 5 years.
Yeah, like literally, this would be something so magical, so special to really keep. I mean, like you said, there are people still creating Dreams to this day. I just recently played Bad Robo's Astrobot recreation, and I recently played the PT Silent Hills 10th anniversary remake in there, built from scratch using the what's the engine? It's not Dreams engine, right? It's
God. I always call it the cotton candy engine because that's what everything looks like when you get close.
You can make stuff that doesn't look like cotton candy.
No. Trust me, I'm aware. But that's for quite a while.
For beginners, it definitely a lot of the shit ends up. But dude, I mean, Dreams is like one of the most revolutionary things I've ever seen in gaming ever, and ever gotten to experience. And yeah, like until they shut the servers off, like it is still going to remain, like there's going to be a small, a group of people that still continue to not let it go. And I think I want to join that crowd of like, hey, like let's like let's not let this thing die. Because it is not only what went into it, but also like what it can still offer is something incredible. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would almost maybe above everything else say that this probably needs to come to PS5 and PSVR2 the most.
Yeah.
I'd be, even though I think all these things should have made it over to PSVR2 and PS5, Blood and Truth, Wipeout Omega Collection, Astrobot Rescue Mission, Until Dawn Rush of Blood, Farpoint, and Dreams.
This is the one.
I think you bring these over to PSVR2 and like there is new life in the headset and the launch goes completely different than the way it did.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Shades of Grey Matter says interesting thought. Like, since Dreams auto scales to performance, is this going to be even better on PlayStation 5 Pro? And the answer is yes, obviously, right? Like, it was better on the PS4 Pro, it was better on the PlayStation 5. It was not optimized for these consoles. It was just programmed to use like dynamic resolution and and allow you to work within the confines of the console you're on. And so, yes, it's going to be better on the Pro. I can only imagine, unless I'm missing something. And so it's like, here we go. Like, the game keeps getting better and better, even though no one's at the helm of it anymore. Right. And it's like the one thing we didn't talk about, we talked about, awesome people out there like Bad Robo and all the other amazing creators. Sorry, I don't have your names handy at the moment, but there's a lot of you and I love you all because I was obsessed with Dreams for a very long time, constantly every, couple times a week going in and seeing what was new. But like, also, like, I've got this unfulfilled need, AJ, to make my own game. I've been kind of planning it in my head for like years now, right? Like, this game that I want to make, and like, there's no way in hell I'm going to go start it now on Dreams that they've already said, hey, we're not really going to support this thing anymore, right? But if they said, hey, we are going to support this and we are going to bring it to PSVR 2 and we're going to let the servers run as long as people are using it, dude, I would spend the next 5 years just like in my free time kind of plugging away slowly and making this magnum opus VR game. Like maybe the scariest game ever made would be like the thing I'd be going for. Fuck you, Madison. I got you beat. Like Madison might be the scientifically scariest VR game ever made, but I'm going to make the biologically scariest VR game you've ever seen. And it's going to be completely different. No, but it's, what I'm saying though, is that like, I've got a desire to do this and I'm not going to do it now. I'm not even going to think about doing it unless it's getting support for another generation. And that's really sad because I think there's a lot of people in the same boat as me who would love to make some games, but they're not going to waste their time on something that's essentially dying. It's really sad.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Hopefully this is one of those things where like, over time stuff gets moved around, some new leadership comes in and goes, why are we just sitting on this? Yeah. Like why aren't we doing anything about this? There's gonna be somebody that eventually comes around to do that. And
hold on, I'm gonna fill out my application to be the Sony CEO.
If I was the CEO of Sony, this wouldn't happen, Brian. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I would have monetized the shit out of Dreams. I would have let people
yep.
I would have let people sell their games separately, made from the Dreams engine. Everyone's saying Bubble Bath engine. I don't know if that's what it was called,
real?
though. It might have been.
I mean, I believe them. Maybe.
Of course, there's a lot of legal issues that you run into monetizing that game, so it's kind of like a double-edged thing. Yeah, you can absolutely get sued, especially by Nintendo, because there's a lot of people that wanted to remake their favorite things.
There'd still have to be a process where you go through being like, hey, Sony, I would like to request that I sell this separately on the PlayStation Dreams store. And and they review it and make sure there's nothing copyrighted in there. And then, and then the person who made it gets 70%, and then Sony gets 30%, of the $5 or something like that, right? So,
yeah. And then you also add that multiplayer, and then
you've got the perfect game.
And then you get like avatars, and this literally was like the perfect thing for like the metaverse. Like, this was literally it, and they blew it.
Yep. What an amazing engine. Like, people are just making anything they could think of. It's so powerful so powerful that people complained about how difficult it was to learn. But I think the fact is people learned it, and
Yeah, I mean, I learned it. I made a game in a week.
Cool Borders,
Dream Borders,
Dream Borders,
which was basically Cool Borders.
Crazy Borders.
Could have made Crazy Borders, Brian. Could have made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I mean, looking back at this, what an amazing library PSVR1 had. I cannot believe it's been 8 years. But looking at some of these games and remembering how good they were, it's like, oh yeah, I remember why we're here. Like why we've been so supportive, because we've seen like things like this and played and experienced things like this. But yeah, man, of this list, I'm like, you have got to bring us Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. We didn't even talk about Firewall 0 Hour, but
well, I skipped it because we were running low on time, but also we got Ultra and that didn't go well. So
yeah,
maybe we don't talk about Firewall anymore.
yeah, maybe
Dude, okay, you want to know something real fucking funny?
What's that?
So before I was putting the show together, I was like, did we talk about this recently? Because I know we've had similar conversations over the years. And so I searched through all without Parole content, and I searched for PSVR1 GAMESCAST, and one of the videos that we had done with that was a similar conversation where this must have been right before Ultra came out, was what other PSVR1 games deserve the Firewall Ultra treatment? And I literally laughed out loud because I was like, oh, please God, no, don't do it. No, be careful what you wish for. No, we don't want that.
Yeah, maybe we should just remaster these games, Brian. Just take the good with the bad and, don't fuck with anything else. Just leave them as is, for the love of God. Definitely don't remake them and call them Ultra.
Yeah.
And then make everything with eye tracking.
No, absolutely not. A straight port of 0 Hour would have been all we needed. Would have been great.
Seriously.
AJ, let's do a little 4-minute challenge. We switched over to 4 minutes, right?
What? No. When is it? What
and actually, just for episodes that you're on, we're gonna do 3-minute challenges.
Oh my goodness.
No. 4 minutes. You got 4 minutes. So you better rapid fire these questions because you only got 4 minutes and as many questions as you want to figure out what PSVR1 or PSVR2 game I'm thinking of. Guys, everybody in the chat, help him out. He's gonna need it. He's so gonna need it. You ready, AJ?
No.
On your mark. Get Dez. Go.
Is it on PSVR 2?
No.
Of course not. Did it come out within the first year of PSVR 1?
I'm going to say no. Just want to
come out in 20...
No, it did not.
Did it come out in 2019?
No.
2020?
Wait, did you say... hold on. It did not come out in the first year of 20... no, it did not. It's 2018.
Yeah.
It's 2018. I feel like I said no on something I should have said yes on. I didn't hear you.
Oh.
It's 2018.
Okay.
Good luck.
2018. Okay. Yeah. So it came out this year. Is it any of the games we listed today?
No.
Or talked about?
Oh God, no.
Was it? It was not mentioned. Is it a bad game, Brian?
It might be a bad game.
Fuck. So it came out in 2018. What the hell else came out in 2018? Not much that I can remember. This must have been really bad, Brian. You must have really dug deep and found a really...
I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, if I reviewed it, it can't be that.
Did you do a Why We Love on this game?
I don't think so. No. I'll double check that while you're talking.
Shit. I don't think... Is there multiplayer?
No.
Is it cartoony?
No. Why We Love either. I just checked.
Is it horror?
Yes. What month are we in, AJ? Of course it's horror.
Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. I have maybe a better chance here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yep, 2.5 minutes. You got this.
Is this game from the Japanese store originally? Was it on the Japanese store first?
No.
Okay. Horror game from 2018. Does it use the moves?
Yeah.
Does it use DualShock?
I don't think so, no.
Let's see here. Are there ghosts?
No.
Or spirits?
No.
Okay, let's see. 2018. Oh God. Okay, I gotta think of these.
I don't like where your eyes are at. Eyes up, eyes up.
No. I'm relying on the chat here because I can't remember the name of some of these.
Okay, that's fair.
Does this game have Preda in it?
No, we even mentioned that.
Let's see here. Is it a puzzle game?
No, minor puzzles, but no, not a puzzle game at all.
Is it full locomotion?
Yeah.
Is it based off popular IP?
No. I mean, nope.
Let's see here. Are there zombies in it?
No.
Let's see. Here They Lie was the launch title. 18 Floors was definitely a puzzle game. Dude, what was is there like an evil clown or something in this game?
Nope. Nope.
Did you like this game?
I desperately wanted to, AJ, but I did not. I did not.
Fuck. Oh man. It couldn't be Last Labyrinth because had
no cheaters out there, you guys. No cheaters. You can't be like looking this up. You got to play fair, okay? We're trusting.
It's not based off popular IP. I don't think Horror Adventure came out in 2018.
45 seconds, AJ.
No, my hands are up. I'm not googling.
No. I'm telling the chat not to cheat. I'm telling the chat not to cheat.
I'm looking at the chat.
Right. We got to play fair.
Does it take place in a mental hospital?
No.
Was it chapter 1, but no other chapters came out?
No. In fact, it included chapter 1 and 2. Whoop, big hint.
Chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 1 and 2.
It might have been called episode 1 and 2. I forget.
How much time do I have left?
18 seconds.
Oh my freaking God. Chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 1 and 2. Oh, it could be Exorcist, but it's not based off popular IP.
5 seconds.
And
done. Final guess. You got it? You got one? Got one?
Is it
coming out November 5th?
Weeping Dolls
2018. 'Tis the game Siren, which had deadly mermaids in an undersea station.
Oh my! There was no chance I had on this.
Bro, this game is so bad.
I didn't even play this game. I watched you play it, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. No, I think I did play it. I played it for like 5 minutes and gave up.
Yeah. It was super blurry. The enemy animations were terrible. All the interactions were terrible. It was a stealth game, but all you ever had to do was just take a cup and just throw it in one direction and run in the other. And you're like, stealth over. It was so easy once you learn to kind of be cheap.
That is the deepest of cuts, Brian.
Well, you can thank Mr. Awesome Tatum in the chat for giving that suggestion to me in voice chat today. And you
ain't right, bub. You ain't right.
It looks like it should be fun. It looks like it's kind of persistence like. But no, it is not.
No, it should never be spoken in the same sentence.
Ian Stanford says Brian is making this game up all the while playing my review on screen.
I think I remember this game. No, I definitely remember this game, and wow, It was definitely one that was. It was literally like 15 minutes of fame, and then it went away quickly.
Yeah. Oh, very quickly.
Forever.
And we were happy it was gone. The developer definitely made it clear he was not interested in patching it and making it better and stuff. So I was like, all right, we're done.
Damn, man, you went ultra hard. You went apocalypse mode, man.
You know what's so funny, AJ, is that Wednesdays and Fridays I go, I should be courteous and make sure it's a game that they've probably played extensively. I check their trophy lists. On Mondays, I'm like, where's my scalpel? I'm ripping his fucking heart out.
Dude, you were like, what is the hardest fucking game I can think of?
That's kind of where we're at, AJ. This is just the basis of our relationship.
I like hard games, but man, that is way too much, way too hard for me.
Yep. All right, you guys, thank you all so very much for being here today. A little lengthier episode than usual. I promised myself we'd keep these nice and short.
It was a special one.
It was due, celebrating the 8-year anniversary of PSVR1, the best VR headset that ever hit the market.
I agree, Brian.
Oh, did I really? I did make that voice, didn't I? Been working on my Trump imitation. Is it getting better?
No.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. We love you so very much. Make sure but first, Make sure you subscribe to AJ over at PSVR Underground. Click the links in all the links in the description below. Come join us over on Discord. That's where these conversations happen 24/7. We now have a poll of the day and question of the day and all sorts of stuff. And don't forget, we do Sunday multiplayer, 2 p.m. Eastern every single Sunday, because it's called Sunday multiplayer. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening. If you like your PSVR2, but you need some friends to play with, that's what we're here for. Shout out to all of our Patreon supporters, all of our amazing mods, all of the members over here on YouTube, everyone who tips during the show and keeps the lights on. We love you so very much. Everyone who hangs out and shoots the shit during the chat, during the show, keeps us entertained while we try to keep you entertained. And everybody who sits back, watches the show, and doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much.
Damn Skippy.
It is Monday, AJ.
Cue the cat, Brian, because I want to say, see you guys on Wednesday to mad_vegan.
Hugo
says the best is yet to come. Josh Susky, hey, thanks, man. Good to see you again, my dude. Bob Zarkoff, the Underground Gamecat Elite Name Squad in the house. Tom says, happy 8th birthday, PSVR1.
Hugo.
Happy 8th birthday to you too, Tom. Mark Poppin, Pringles Leaf.
Mark,
this is
Hugo,
another great
Pringles
stream, Brian and AJ. Always enjoy Mondays. Thank you so much, man. Always enjoy you as well. Mischievous Mark here, the Underground Game Cat, says later Game Cats, Elite Name Squad in the house. Durbin Proud. I'm not going to give Brian a chance to say Hugo with the pink hand. Baby, no, Ramos. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Hugo. Guys, said fist bump to you. Ghostface Gamer, the Game Cat. Where's your hashtag Game Cat? Leave it after the show. Tatum, that was evil, bro. That was evil. I thought we were friends.
This is what friends do to each other.
Steve_Irie in the house tonight. What up, homie? We have always lived in the castle. Merry Cats. You rock, homie. You rock.
You rock, Hugo.
Old Darth says bye-bye. Dan Kiefer, thank you so much, man. Tom Flesh Eater Gaming, you have an awesome night as well, my friend. Twitcher, the Deuce Juice Game Cat says happy birthday, Game Cats. Happy birthday to everybody. Woohoo! Grandpa Barbecue, the Game Cat, thank you for coming along tonight.
Granddaddy
Big
Hugo.
Jack Zego says,
Hugo.
Tripman Gaming Network says, yo. I'm not gonna do that again. Secrets of what's up, man. See you later. Y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for hanging out. We love you, and we will see you again very, very soon.
Good night, Hugo.